Now, here we are at the end of the line as of 2024 with No Time to Die. No Time to Die is the perfect title for a movie that is essentially all over the place, operating as one of those classic Bond titles that is a romantic toss-up to death because they couldn't come up with a central location, MacGuffin, or bad guy to name it after. However, the most accurate title would have been No Time to Comprehend Anything, because this movie is exactly what Bond would be like if Disney purchased Eon Productions and pumped out a Disney-fied sequel that nobody wanted nor cared for, like the recent Star Wars or Indiana Jones late-in-the-game sequels. It's bright, colorful, and flashy. It showcases James Bond not as he once was, but mostly as an old man who has grown soft with age. It's pumped full of references to other films, some subtle, some not so subtle. It overloads the movie with characters both new and old in order to fill out its obligatory epic movie poster. And just to be clear, none of these things are bad on their face. In fact, they are welcomed so long as the movie stands on its own and allows all of these elements to properly congeal into a satisfying whole. However, this late-in-the-game sequel has no direction, no gusto, no oomph that makes it feel like it should exist in the first place, but rather relies on the past to do most of the heavy lifting. And just as Disney would make it, it flies from scene to scene with little to no development as to what is going on and why. Hey look, it's Vesper, moving on. Hey look, it's Felix Leiter, now he's dead, moving on. Blofeld, now he's dead, moving on. Ana de Armas is really hot, is Bond gonna... Oh wait, no, moving on. Holy LGBT, Q is gay? Since when? Shouldn't Q as a character be the opposite of Bond, as in completely sexless or outright asexual or involuntarily celibate? I mean, as far as I was ever concerned with Q's home life, he was always more likely to f one of his gadgets than another human being, so it just seems like the producers only did this to... Oh, never mind, I guess we're moving on. Wait a tick, he has a Mr. Bigglesworth cat? Is that a reference to... f it, we're moving on. The agent that took over the 007 number when Bond retired after the last movie is really insecure about following in his footsteps. Maybe we should develop this relationship in an interesting way. Oh, wait, no, we're moving on. All of Spectre is dead? What is Safin trying to do and why? Why did Blofeld kill his whole family? The only henchman in this movie was for Spectre and now he's for Safin, even though his DNA would have been part of the Cuba attack on Spectre, so how did he survive? F it, moving on, moving on, moving on, moving on. The entire script feels like a game of telephone where each scene was written by a new screenwriter desperately plastering things on top of each other to get us to the end by any means necessary. This isn't a movie so much as it's an attempt to tie a neat bow atop this whole Craig era thing when we all know it probably should have ended already. Speaking of which, there's a remarkable similarity between the Connery and Craig films. They are two men that exploded into stardom with two powerhouse introductions, Dr. No and Casino Royale, followed by great direct sequels so far as Spectre as an organization pulls an Empire Strikes Back type of thing. A third installment with a top-tier bad guy that most people like that has nothing to do with Spectre and is more or less self-contained. A fourth film that goes back to Spectre, but that film's reach exceeds its grasp by focusing more on action than telling a good story and an embarrassingly awful bad guy. And a fifth film that borrows heavily from Fleming's You Only Live Twice novel, while each actor that started off with such youthful gusto seems completely apathetic to the whole thing and just wants it all to come to an end. As for myself, I am officially taking a stance right here and now. I am forever done with Bond sequels. Unless they finally decide to adapt every book exactly as written and in order of publication, Bond sequels should be forever banned, and all Bonds should be made to follow the example set forth by George Lazenby. One movie per actor from here on. We bicker and argue about who should be Bond, and yet we're all wasting our breath. How about all of them? Then at least the filmmakers wouldn't feel obligated to continue stories they never planned to continue anyway. The leap from Casino Royale to No Time to Die is so ridiculous that it's like they're two different universes. Instead, one-offs, 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 one-offs. Bond is assigned to a mission and he executes it. Then maybe the writers might come up with something clever rather than desperately trying to tie up loose ends by shoving as much shit as they can into a single franchise-ending film, such as this one right here, No Time to Comprehend What's Happening and Why.